I'm telling you what, people like to talk about how dark this show is, right? Well, there aren't a lot of episodes darker than Feet of Clay Part 2. This is into the depths dark. It's so dense with moments, lines, musical cues, breathtaking animation. Every scene is relentless in its visual and narrative significance. My notes were overflowing with things I had to write down so I could remember to talk about them. Holy hell, is it vicious in its high-quality approach to the story and characters. Marv Wolfman just walked in, dropped this bombshell, and left. Continuing from Part 1, Bruce Wayne is booked at the GCPD but released soon after. Batman immediately goes back on the prowl for Wayne's impersonator as Matt Hagen looks upon his new appearance. The overdose Daggett's minions poured into Hagen's body has transformed him into something he can barely recognize as human. However, he does notice he can shapeshift into other people and objects. With this newfound ability, he goes on the hunt for Daggett and crosses paths with the Batman. Okay, where do I start? Let's go with Clayface first. Matt Hagen is definitely a sympathetic bad guy, but Ron Perlman is so good at being an angry jerk, you almost forget to feel sorry for him a couple times.
You made a comeback before, you can do it again. Comeback? Comeback? From this? I told you I don't need rest. I don't need food. And I don't need you!
A lot of Matt's anger is unfairly directed at his stand-in and best friend, Teddy Lupus. Teddy really cares about Hagen, but all we see is Matt treat him like garbage. Although, it is hard to blame him sometimes, especially with scenes like this.
I'm not an actor anymore. I'm not even a man.
We learn that after the accident that disfigured him, Roland Daggett offered Hagen to be a guinea pig for the first trial of his Renew You facial chemical. The problem was, it turned out to be an addictive substance that causes intense pain if not taken more and more regularly. It also gave Hagen his initial ability to mold his face into other people. Daggett held the chemical over his head as he forced Matt to work for him on some of his criminal schemes. Clayface is on a revenge-fueled mission to pay Daggett back, and his first interaction with Batman was one of the high points of the episode.
What in the name of heaven?
Even though we feel plenty bad for Clayface, he's a frightening adversary for Batman, and uses all his abilities to his advantage in their first fight. Creepy stuff. One of the most eldritch moments in the episode comes when he finally confronts Daggett during his interview on Gotham Insider.
Why don't you
Tell them about me!
Batman in this episode continues to go a bit further than we're used to seeing him in the series. When he threatens the character Germs with a jar of crimson fever in the hospital's infectious disease specimen lab, it's one of his most intimidating scenes.
You're crazy! Last chance. Talk!
Now, they make sure to show us it was really just seawater in that jar, but in these two episodes, Batman really stepped up his interrogation game. That Germs character also turned out to be ahead of the curve.
All these viruses and bacteria, I could be infected.
When he finds out who Clayface really is, Batman thinks up a clever way to defeat him. But like the hero he is, the Dark Knight again tries to appeal to the person inside his enemy.
You can play those roles again, Hagen. Let me help you find a cure.
All that awesome dialogue is great, but where's my Batman janitor Funko Pop? Not discounting the heavily emotionally effective score to this episode, the real star of Feet of Clay Part 2 is the brilliant animation. For Clayface's transformations, they stepped it up to a level rarely seen in this medium, period. We're talking 2D animation here. Look at that! Gorgeous, twisted, and a trademark of this show. Hats off to all who were involved with the visuals. It enhances the story and gives us one of the best scenes in the series.
You know what I'd have given for a death scene like this? Too bad I won't get to read the notices.
Tragic and horrifying at the same time, which also describes the end to this episode. I love a good ominous tease that there might be more to come, and Feet of Clay ends things on a downright scary note.
I wouldn't be surprised if the body they took to the morgue was only a shell. He said it himself, Alfred. He called it a scene, a death scene so real, it fooled us all.
That ending narration is perfect, and the image it leads to is bone-chilling. As a complete story, Feet of Clay has to be one of the best told narratives in the series. The writing, acting, and visuals worked in sync here like nothing else in the show, especially in Part 2. But boy, is it dark. Go ahead and revisit it or check it out for the first time. Either way, brace yourself for a nightmare that molds to fit your sympathy, vanity, and fear.